Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video. So Armor King just got released earlier today, and also these patch notes got released earlier today, so I thought it'd be a good idea to just quickly go over them and cover a couple of things that are important to you playing the game. We're just going to go over them very quickly. It's not a big patch, it's not a big balance patch. We already knew this. I think a lot of us, including myself, were hoping for a couple of balance changes here and there, considering the game still isn't in, you know, the ideal place that it should be, especially, right, particularly in my opinion. I think there should be more changes to, you know, homing plus unblock mids and things like this that I've preached about many times on this channel again and again. So without sounding like a broken record, we're kind of going to skip over that rant that I will have, and we'll just go on and tell you guys like what's actually changed, and I'll give you some concluding thoughts at the end as well. As usual, the replays will be reset. We know all this stuff. It always does the same thing whenever you get a new update. Tekken shop stuff, if you're interested. Here we go. Playable characters. Character move behavior fixes. In Volume 2.06, adjustments have been made primarily to hitboxes and collision detection to address unintended behaviors. So just like the last patch, this patch is basically all bug fixes and unintended behavior fixes. Improvements have been made to sound effects, which is also kind of cool. Voiceovers, so maybe Anna doesn't sound like a turkey every time she gets hit. And visual effects to enhance overall quality. Some moves that had their command inputs changed in version 2.0 can now also be executed using their old command inputs. This was particularly an issue for long-time Lee players. And me not even being a long-time Lee player, but I have played a lot of Lee in Tekken 7 and Tekken 8. When they changed his blazing kick input, I'll show you later on, but when they changed his blazing kick input, it definitely was an odd change that I don't think was necessary, considering the command is not used for anything else. But anyway, I'll get to that when we get to it. This change only applies to King and Lee. So King, I think it's his crouch dash throws, right? As no moves were assigned to those old inputs for them. Yes. I mean, that should have always been the case, but it's good that that happened. And then for actual changes, we have regarding battle balance adjustments for the version 2.03.01 update. In version 2.06, adjustments have been made primarily to hitboxes and collision detection as unintended behaviors, yada. We just read all of this stuff. Self-damaging moves. Fix an issue where during a self-damaging move, it was possible to achieve a KO by landing an attack that should only deal recoverable damage and not able to KO. Obviously, that should be the case. So glad that was fixed. Certain power crush moves. I did see a few clips of these on Twitter. Fix an issue where certain moves dealt different damage when absorbed by a power crush compared to when they hit normally, so that the damage is now consistent with a normal hit. So this is good. I can't remember specifically which characters had this issue, but there are certain characters that had this issue, so it's good that it got fixed, obviously. Anna, I'm not going to go through everything in terms of behavior fixes, but basically it's stuff like this. The tracking ability of the second hit has been enhanced on hit or block with the first hit. If somebody tries to sidestep something but doesn't sidestep all the way, that first hit that you haven't sidestepped enough, you will end up blocking that, but the second hit, like the follow-up attack, will whiff. So they're fixing that. To be honest with you, I thought that some of that was quite nice nuance, specifically against tracking strings, where you could kind of like shimmy your way out of the follow-up attack. So if, do you remember when Clive's forward 1+2, it was homing, you could not step it from range or up close. Well, what you could do to kind of loophole that system, or kind of bypass that system, sorry, would be you sidestep at the right time, and then you block, and then you would block the first hit of that forward 1+2, and then the second hit would just go past you. Because you'd sidestepped enough that even when you're blocking the first hit, the second hit is just going to go past you. This is kind of what is fixing with all of these. I mean, last patch, I also didn't do a video on this, but this is basically what they're doing. A lot of it I agree with. Some of it I think takes away a little bit of the nuance, like the little that we have left in Tekken 8. I'm kind of apprehensive about how I feel about some of these changes. Reading some of them, they make sense, but for other ones, I'm not so sure. I understand if people get really frustrated when like they're, you know, the downward one gets blocked and then the follow-up whiffs. But if it's your opponent doing a specific sidestep timing and then blocking and then the follow-up whiffs, I don't like taking that nuance away. I think that's something quite nice and unique to Tekken, being a 3D game, And it's also something that a lot of players have had to use to kind of deal with the tracking strings since Tekken 8 launch. So I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe I got some of this wrong. Maybe I'm misinterpreting it. You can let me know in the comments. You know, I'm happy to open a discussion there. It's just where I am personally with it. Obviously, I would have wished for some bigger balance changes, but as I said already, this was expected to be the case, these kind of patch notes, because it's already been announced in the last patch notes or the patch notes before that they're not going to do any major balance changes until after TWT, which should end in February, I believe, if I'm correct. And then season 3 will be in March. So to be honest, we probably won't see any big balance changes until season 3, unfortunately. Obviously, the game deserves more balance changes than it's got right now, but that's just the way it is. Right, so anyway, enough of me yapping. Just let me fill you on these two important command changes. So King, approach opponent, crouch dash 2+4, and crouch dash 2+4 again. Weird. Okay, and that must be a typo. It must be it must mean 1+3. You can now use the move with the approach opponent, crouch dash 2+3 and 1+4. So the old inputs you can do now. And it's the same with Lee, as I talked about at the beginning, with his blazing kick. Now it's called a forward 4, but it used to be down, then down back 4. Now you can actually use either input, which is quite nice for legacy players who've gotten used to that muscle memory of doing down back 4. To be honest, I think that because the input is harder and it was kind of a nice skill expression, being able to land that follow-up when people are knocked down, because the timing is quite strict, I think they should have just reverted it to down back 4. But because there are lots of new players in season 2, I understand why they want to keep it, or why they want to keep at least the new input as well. And the same with King's crouch dash throws. Although, to be honest, you should just revert it back to the old input, because it's not any more difficult, especially for controller players, which is what most new players will play on. But anyway, it's not a big deal. I am very glad that they changed this and reverted it back, or allowed you the option to do the old input as well. And then there isn't really much, to be honest, in terms of patch notes. Yep, thank you for continued support of Tekken 8. As I said, looking forward for more balance changes when they actually come, but to be honest, even though Miarizu is going to be is going to be available in December, TWT is still going on, major tournaments, and they already said they weren't going to do any major balance patches until after TWT. I am a little bit worried that they'll do the same thing as they did last year, and that's how we got season 2, by the way, is that there were no big balance changes in the off season. So TWT ended, and then that would have been the perfect time to release the balance patches, or just do like multiple small ones, see what the community response is to the balance changes, and then go from there in order to prepare for season 2. But what they did is they did nothing. They did no major balance changes in the off season, and then we got season 2, and we got all of the nightmarish changes that happened in season 2. So I hope they don't do that, to be honest, though, because TWT ends in February, and then season 3 will be in March. I expect, to be honest, we probably won't get any balance changes in the off season. We will just get season 3, and I haven't played much Armor King yet. I played a little bit of him, and he seems okay, but I mean, just take my word with a pinch of salt, because I've literally only played like half an hour with the character, so I need to really dig my heels in and understand the character before I make a bold statement, right? In terms of strength and, you know, fun to play against or absolute torture to play against, right? If they keep going the way they did with Fakam, then I think we're in for maybe a pretty good season 3. Anyway, this video is not just me rambling about how season 3 is going to go. I was just going to update you guys on what the patch notes are and what my thoughts are in regards to having no balance update for quite a while, and the kind of mini balance update that we got a while back, which was kind of a few breadcrumbs really compared to what I think everybody expected. But yeah, that's going to be it from me. I just wanted to do a quick little video. Look out for some Armor King content. I'm going to be doing a beginner guide for Armor King and you know, some combo stuff. I will do a ranked grind as well, and maybe I'll probably do a full guide as well for the character if I really like him, depending on how I feel about him. But anyway, much love guys, take it easy, and I will see you in the next one.